with your inner child, she or he does not need to know the specifics about why they're safe. They only need to know that they are. They only really want to hear the words, I love you, you're safe. End of story. I love you, you're safe are the only things you actually need to tell the inner child. What my teacher, Dr. Peoples, says through me is that you don't need to. In fact, it's sometimes not even effective, frequently not effective, to tell the inner child, don't worry, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, everything's going to be okay, and we're going to write down a list, and everything's going to be all right. That sometimes when you're talking to yourself, you can talk yourself off a ledge like that. But with inner child work, the all in all, base level, all you need to tell the inner child is, I love you, you're safe. What I want to start with is this tool, because the inner child work is the crux of everything. If your life is wonky and not going well, it is because the inner child in you is trying to manage it. She or he has been trying to handle things. And they're not capable of handling things well for a long time. So the teachings of the inner child work are really just to bring you back to the very basics of the fact that you don't let the 13-year-old in you be in charge of dinner for the rest of her life. You're going to cook dinner for the kids. That's what you do as an adult. You cook dinner, you manage the affairs of school, you make sure they got lunch packed. When they get a little older, they can pack their lunch, but you're going to handle things. So the basis to make life simpler, more peaceful, if you're wanting to have the magic and miracles happening, if you're wanting to know where the runway lights show up, if you're wanting things to be like, I wonder what it would be like, and then boom, it comes, boom, it comes, boom, it comes, it's inner child work. The inner child doesn't need to know the specifics of how you're going to figure everything out, how it's going to be okay, what are you going to get taken care of. She or he doesn't need to know that kind of stuff. And you know this, I see you, my love. All she or he needs to hear you say is, I love you, you're safe. What I want to encourage you to do is do that every morning and every night. When you get up in the morning, when you know that you're awake, you might just take a moment for the love of all that is holy, before you pick up your phone, right? So before you reach to your phone to figure out what time it is or whatever, maybe your alarm goes off, you turn off the alarm, but then pause and just say to the inner child in you, I love you, honey, you're safe. That resets you so that you are channeling your higher self at that moment. You're more in the conscious soul part of you instead of the scared inner child who's trying to manage life. I love you. You're safe. You can even do it right now as you're listening. For everyone that's listening, either right here now or later, just right now, just tell your inner child, I love you, honey. I love you. You're safe. That immediately repositions your nervous system, even if it's momentarily, to be channeling your higher self. You'll feel a sense of peace come over you, even just a little bit. Do that in the morning when you wake up. Then go start your day. Then go have your morning routine. Then go handle whatever you're going to handle. And then at night, as you're lying back in the bed, say it again. I love you, honey. I love you. Hey, little guy. I love you. You're safe. Hey, kiddo. I love you so much. You're safe. It resets you in the morning. It resets you at night. What Dr. Peoples says through me is that if this was all you ever did, that everything else becomes easier. Everything else becomes more peaceful. The one who is fearful, the one who is distracted, the one who is angry, the one who is overwhelmed, that's all the inner child. So when you do the inner child work, when even just this, I love you, honey, you're safe, then you're holding the energy of your higher self more frequently. Therefore, the inner child, he says it this way: the more consistent you do this with the inner child, the safer the inner child feels. The safer the inner child feels, the safer you feel. Because when the inner child feels safe, she steps back. She hangs out in the back seat of the car and just enjoys the ride. But when you're not checking in with her, when you're not reminding her that she's safe and loved, she starts to worry that no one's driving the car. She's, oh my God, is everybody okay? And then she like scurries to the front of the car to put her hands on the wheel, and then your life gets wonky. That's it. Couldn't be simpler. It just takes practice. The safer your inner child feels, the safer you feel. The safer you feel, the more you let your higher self just run the show, and life becomes amazing, more than amazing. All right, how do you know the difference of being numb to something because you've shut down versus you're neutral? And should neutral feel numb? Neutral will not feel numb. What I invite you to do is to play with this in your own body. Let's start with being numb. When you're numb, when you're numbing out, when you're shutting down, when you're like, nope, can't take anymore, what does your body do? So what posture does your body do when that happens? I want you to play with this a little bit in your own body. Okay, so I'll speak for myself. When I'm shut down, when I'm numbing, I pull back. My fight or flight system gets activated. I'm like, how do I get out of here? Or I start to think about when I leave this, or blah, 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 or my go-to is like Mexican food. I'm like, let me just go get it. Let me like when I leave this room, or like when I'm done with this, like I'll just go get a quesadilla. Like I'll treat myself to that. But it's pulled in. Numb equals disconnected from self, making yourself small, zoning out. It feels, to me, it also feels frantic. It feels incapable. I feel incapable. I feel, when I'm numbed out or shut down, I feel self-righteous sometimes. I'll be like, this just isn't for me. Or no, that I can't do this. It's too, this energy sometimes will come up. Other times I'll acquiesce. I'll just be like, yeah, no, whatever you want. But there's a background noise of just keep the peace, whatever you want. So what I invite you to do is to play with what it feels like when you're numbed out, when you're shut down, and you'll know the difference. When you're neutral about something, how does that feel to your body? So I'll give you an example. Let's say that you go to a restaurant and the waiter says, hey, we've got a blue plate special today. And the blue plate special is a halibut with a buttercream sauce and blah, 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 blah. And if you already know, you're like, I'm not a big fan of halibut. So as you're listening to the waiter tell you, you're just neutral about it. You're not going to order the halibut, but you're not going to interrupt him and be like, stop talking about that. That's disgusting. You're just neutral. You're like, oh, okay. Thanks so much. So neutral will feel open, but unattached. It will feel, you'll usually have a positive sense about you anyway. Neutral feels, you know when a little kid comes and says, today we did art projects and I made a necklace out of spaghetti. You'll be like, that's great. Awesome. Do you care about the spaghetti necklace? You probably do not. But you can tell that they're excited. Oh, cool. It wouldn't matter if the kid made a spaghetti necklace or if the kid made a drawing of an ant. You're like, okay, cool. So what I encourage you to do is play with it with things that aren't like, oh my God, moves to other state, or big stuff is harder for you to discern when you're just practicing. But you'll be able to notice in your body. When I'm shutting down, I'll get flushed. I'll pull back. When I'm neutral, I'll sometimes even pull forward and be like, there's a curiosity to neutrality, but without any attachments, agendas, or expectations. And it's the discernment, it's practicing with it. Just how our body responds. You guys, when you're not sure whether or not you should let go of a person, a job, a place that you live, etc., here are the tools that I want you to think about. The first things first, you have to make your energetic direction a yes. You might word it to say, should I go in a new direction? Should I go in a new direction, or should I go deeper in my learning? So there always has to be a yes, because Mother Nature doesn't speak in no's. It's not right or wrong, but it's just ineffective. When you say, okay, should I go in a new direction, or should I go deeper in my learning? That'll start you off. The fact that you're saying, should I let it go, or should I continue to try, is an indicator that you're working towards a particular goal. So in your mind, you've got an idea of, if I just continue to work at it, then it's going to get here. And when it's here, it's going to be awesome because it's here now. And this isn't good. But if I work at it, then it's going to get here. And I'm going to be so stoked when it's here. That's going to torment you, because the way that energy works is you have to enjoy the trying. So if you think about someone who is building, let's say models, like little trains or like little figurines or something like that, they love the building of it. And then also they get to be like, ooh, I made this thing. Look at this thing. But then they're not like, oh God, yeah, that's so much better. Like, this built train is so much better than the parts. It's always about the building of whatever it is. So if you're enjoying what you call the trying, which is the building, the learning, the going deeper, then stay right there. If you're not enjoying that part, wiggle around with it to see how you can look at it differently. Here's another way to say it. You have to give up, the Buddhists say, give up hope of all fruition. Stop trying to make things better, because when they're better, then everything will be good. It's annoying, but it's true. You have to fall in love with the process. If you love the process, even though it's uncomfortable. So the person who's putting together the model, maybe sometimes they drop a piece and they got to find it on the ground. Or, oh God, this didn't stick. They're like, there's annoyances about it. But they're like, you know what? It's all part of it. So when you're in relationship, for instance, if you're like, you know what, I love learning about this person. I love knowing how to love them differently. I love looking at how they reflect who I am and how they bring up my childhood wounds. And I love learning about deeper conversations and communication. And they're an avoidant attachment style and I'm an anxious attachment style. So I love learning about how to communicate with this. And I go deeper and deeper, and I'm getting good at uncomfortable conversations. And I'm just really seeing myself reflected in this person. Like, they're showing me my shit. So holy mother, like every day I'm getting to go deeper and deeper into my own work, and that's awesome, and it's uncomfortable, and it kind of sucks sometimes, but it's just awesome. If you're into it like that, stay right the hell where you are. If you can get yourself into that, stay right where you are. But if you're like, you know what, I've had it. I'm like, the soul in you is, it's time to go into a new direction. Now, when it's time to go in a new direction, just know that everything is going to dress itself in a different way and put on a new hat and then find you in the next relationship, one way or another. Should you keep trying, don't keep trying to make the relationship good. Stay where you are if you're like, you know what, I inherently have not yet gotten to the deeper work in me, or I could use some more practice here. And you could practice with that person until you're like, you know what, I'm out and I got to go in a different direction. And then you'll practice with the next person, and you'll practice with the next person, and you'll practice with the next person. The thing is, and I know it's annoying to hear, but we attract the people that will mirror and bring up our stuff. Nothing's going to be like, oh, this is perfect. Because we're in relationship to enjoy all the good stuff, but it's 30% good stuff. And then 70% of it is work, and that's it. And if you can start to enjoy the work, then that 70% becomes also the good stuff. The best way that I have discovered to be of support is to first and foremost, take it or leave it. But this is what Dr. P has taught me over the years. The first thing that will help with the codependency and the feeling overwhelmed and the feeling like just wrecked by it is to restate how you're looking at it. Let me just pause another way. Do you believe that there is a plan? Do you believe? How do you want to look at life? Do you want to look at life that there are goods and bads? So if you look at the fires and you say, oh my God, this is shattering. These people are victims. I can't believe this happened to them. This is awful. How could a God let this happen? So if you're in that vibration, then you're going to get depleted when you're helping, because now you're trying to help because something is terribly wrong and we have to make it so good. And if you're living in the terrible and then the good and the, oh my God, this is so bad, and then yes, it's better. If you're doing this in life, you will be tormented for life. It's like people who live in the places where they're like, oh, winter's the worst. Spring's amazing. Okay, how long are you going to live there? Because you're going to get spring and winter every year. Every year, friend. Every year. So my first encouragement with all of you is to see if you can wiggle yourself out of goods and bads, rights and wrongs, holy sinfuls, just or unjust. Nothing like that exists in nature. So we as the human animal, when we approach life like that, it's neither good nor bad. It's just massively ineffective. So Dr. P always uses the example that the alligator isn't a bad animal and the bird is a good animal, and then the bad alligator has eaten the good bird, and nature doesn't work like this. And nature is a memef, right? Nature doesn't mess around. So here's nature creating this fire in one form or another, right? And the people who have been affected by the fires and their homes have burned down. First of all, you can say this person's home burned down instead of saying this person lost their home. You can say, I'm feeling really deep emotions. My inner child, the inner child in me is feeling really sad about the fires, instead of I'm shattered by the devastation and the victims. So changing the language, number one, will shift the way that you approach it energetically. And then when you're like, you know what? Oh, I get to help. Oh God, yes. Because like when nature says, hold my beer, I'm going to do something weird, and then our homes burn down or people are affected or something, like, oh, I get to help. I get to help now. I get to be of service now. Oh yes. Oh yes. Come on, because people have helped me when I have needed help. Oh, now I get to be of service. Now I get to be of service instead of, God, it's just so devastating and I just don't know what's going to happen. And oh my God, and like I try to do everything I can and to raise money, blah, blah, blah. As an empath, you can either decide you're going to tune into the despair, or as an empath, you can say, ooh, I'm going to tune into the possibility. Ooh. So how many people are you talking to? They're like, we're going to rebuild. I got a dear friend whose home burned practically to the ground. And when I talked to her, she's, you know what? The home was small. And now I get to build what I want. Now, first of all, I'm like, oh my God, amazing viewpoint. And maybe not everybody's there yet, but you can, as an empath, tune into the hopefulness. You can tune into what's possible, what's coming. Changing the words, taking the words good, bad, wrong out of the vocabulary will help for you not to feel overwhelmed in the codependency, because you're not trying to make something better. You're like, ooh, I get to serve. Awesome. Seeing if when you are in that act of service, it's energizing. Instead of, oh God, there's so much despair and I've got to help out. So that's like what you're feeling when you're not feeling like there's enough resources in you. The third is really make sure that your patterns are in place of self-care, of discipline. So, are you getting up every morning and doing the inner child work? Are you doing your pillars? Are you doing meditation? Are you connecting with nature? Are you dancing? Are you doing something creative every morning so that your cup is filled up? And then when you do go to serve, then you can be in that full cup. As an empath, you can decide, I want to be empathic to the people who are just feeling despair and overwhelmed, or you can be empathic to the people who are like, oh, got something good going on. I get to be of service. We get to rebuild. You get to decide what you choose to focus on empathically. And then you're resourced by it instead of, oh God, I'm just overwhelmed by it. Show up to support and be of service. That way you're not trying to help it go from this to this. You're just like, oh, I get to be of service. 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 Yes, baby, let's go. This is now I'm on one. This is what we get to do. There's so many people, and even the news will tell you, oh, devastating, oh, awful, oh, God, how are they going to, oh, the humanity. Those of us in a spiritual community get to stand up and be like, let's go. We get to be of service. What are we building? Okay, barns burnt down. Now we get to see the stars. Let's go. It doesn't mean that we're not compassionate. Doesn't mean we numb out, but we're like, awesome. I wasn't affected. How can I be of service? And then the next time that you are affected by something, that they can be like, awesome. How can I be of service? Just make sure that you're not in the place where it's like, oh God, it's just awful. Can you be in the place to be like, this is intense work, huh? How can I be of service? Let's go. Let's go. How can I be of service? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. What do you need? How can I support? Awesome. Okay, perfect. You need that? I got it. Perfect. Let's go. What else? What else? What else? As opposed to, what else? What else do you need? What else? Yeah. How can I be of service? Yeah, I got that. I can get that. Perfect. Let's go. Let's go. That's the difference between living in the possibility as opposed to trying to fix the problem. Practice today just checking in with your inner child, letting her know, letting him know, I love you, you're safe. I love you, you're safe. I love you, you're safe. That's it. That's it. All right. Love you guys so much.